And there we are. Hello, good evening, and welcome. Evening Magrat 10. Got a few people that have joined us, and as usual, come and go as you please. No, don't. Just come and stay. That's much, much better. Hi, Andy. So, usual thing, I've sent out a number of reminders, and only now will we tell if that's worked. 9 it says on here, maybe different to what you have. So good evening, welcome to episode 190 of the Phil Swallow Show. Calling it show, but it also goes out as podcast, so there is an audio version if that is what you choose to follow. And I hope you're all doing well. Hi, that's Sheila, and hi, Peter. See, I'm gradually getting to know real names versus handles that you have on YouTube. That's one of the, I don't say a problem, it's just a feature of modern life, isn't it? It's David, who's known as David. Hi, mate. Hi, Paul. That's good to see lots of you. Hi, Julie. Sorry if I don't call your name out. I'm just trying to juggle various things here. But yeah, thanks very much for giving up a bit of time, William Tell. Merlin's Cat. Now, Merlin's Cat, let me get this right. I think you're in the West Country, and I think I saw a weather warning. So give us a weather report, if I'm right, on such a thing. Because we always get weather reports coming and going, but I thought it was quite a bad one, a named one. Karen and Graham Stone. Hello. Right. Yeah, so again, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. And I've done a fairly light agenda because I like there to be as much of this about reacting to what's covered in the chat as it is to what I might have to tell you. And I must admit, I left it late for my little prep for a few notes, but we'll see how it goes. Don't mention the football. Mentioned it once, think he got away with it. Yes, Ramsey. I'm still hanging the shirt up, to be fair. Shirt in the corner, Crystal Palace. Yeah, I mean, loyal fans, this is what we expect. You don't expect Palace to hit success and then just carry on with success. You expect us to have drama and crisis and all manner of things. And that's exactly what's happening at the moment. Heavy rain, okay. So, add to broadcast, there we go. Heavy rain in the West Country. Official. Don't worry about the weather forecast from the Met Office when we can get it from people on a live show. So, we did get together at the end of the year, and then it's weird because I was feeling rough over the Christmas period, and it was fairly dry but very cold. And then when I was starting to feel better and I had some stuff prepped and ready to record, the weather wasn't so good. So it's now I'm basically looking for things to or looking for the weather to clear, and I can literally just nip out. Let's have a look. Oh, Andy, you're also West Country, aren't you? Of course, Teignmouth. So another storm. Let me put this up. We can all have a read. Another storm in just a few days. Teignmouth. Is that how you say it? I think you say Teignmouth, don't you? Pier had its end washed away. Train line at Dawlish was closed for a day or so. Sidmouth Beach has been washed away. I think I saw something on the news where there was some track had been washed away or covered in debris and stuff. Terrible. So stay safe if you're down there. Heed those warnings. Don't be a hero. But obviously you often get people going out trying to film it and photograph it, all these different things. Yes, so anyway, I did get out and do some filming. I didn't put a post up, but I'll do something for the members. Went out on Saturday, filmed. I did a couple of things. One was, they were both in Addiscombe. One was a local heritage area, and one was, I've hinted on here before, but to do with Moorland Road. And my friend Dennis Bradley, who gave me all that wonderful information and photographs of Woodside Court and helped to tell that story. We've got some other stuff about a particular building on the junction of Moorland Road and Lower Addiscombe Road. So with that one, I'm going to do a voiceover type video, similar to the Woodside Court update. But what I did was film loads of footage in the time that I had, so that I've got the mix of my voice, footage, maps and old images, and the images are amazing. So I'm really looking forward to putting that together. Put that together in the next couple of weeks and it'll go out early Feb, all being well. The other one, I had a look at the edits today for the Addiscombe Heritage one. It's going to be quite an easy one to put together. So I expect that to be live Wednesday, Thursday this week. So keep an eye out for that one. Bonsoir. And bonsoir to you, Martyn. I'm going to lead with your contribution in a minute, Martyn. Amazing how quickly they fix the railway lines in the West Country in a matter of days compared to the hole in Godstone. Now, I'm going to add that to the broadcast because I've got a little bit of info about the Godstone sinkhole, and it's not called a sinkhole. That's not just the info. It's about a talk that I went to. That's item 2 on my very, very rough agenda. Stay tuned. Anyway, so the first one, Dornton Road and connected area. Thank you to Martyn, who is on this very live show this evening. Thanks, Martyn, for sending that through. I'm always happy to get these because it means the prep is almost done. I just did a little bit of adding some features here and there. But broadly, as Martyn had set out this nice walk that he'd done in the Dornton Road area, starting at Dornton Road, I was able to put out there in video, and it's gone down quite well, very well. Thank you. I think just over 1,000 views in the first week, which is very nice indeed. And yeah, I'm as I mentioned on a recent post, there's a whole thing about the admiration, enjoyment I have of looking at the Victorian architecture in Croydon, and it takes many forms. And I bought a few books and got some books for Christmas. I'm trying to understand a bit more about how these houses are actually constructed, and some of the challenges and things like that. So, and I won't necessarily do a strict video just about that, but I'll be dripping the details in to some of the other videos that I do. It's funny actually, because there's a feature in YouTube that suggests subject matter for videos that you may want to cover based on what you cover already. And one of them was Victorian houses in Croydon. And this was about a year ago I saw this, and I parked it in my head. And of course now I'm starting to land them against other things that are going on, such as the railways and all that sort of stuff. Good evening, Phil and chat, Mickey Droyboy. So yes, so again, thanks Martyn. Really nice walk. Obviously had nice weather. Graham was along with me. We went along Dornton Road, studied that kind of Selsdon Road / Selsdon railway station. Quick plug, if you're able, if you're in the area, this Wednesday 2 p.m, Sanderstead History Group. We've got a talk at Onslow Gardens in Sanderstead. It's a couple of quid on the door. That gives you a cup of tea and a biscuit and a talk. It's Roger Packham from the Bourne Society, who's got this postcard collection of Selsdon. Now, I have been looking at photographs of this area for a long time now. They're in books, they're in other publications, leaflets. They pop up online very often. And I received the presentation today from the guy that puts them together for Roger. So I've got Wednesday's presentation on my computer now. And there are images of Selsdon, hand on heart, I've never seen before. So if you're able to get along, 2 o'clock, Onslow Gardens, on Wednesday afternoon, this Wednesday 28th. So just going to go back to the chat very quickly before I carry on. Love the railway walk. Good to hear. Thank you. Dornton Road video. Know it well. Brilliant. And thanks for producing a nice film of it. My pleasure, Martyn. It was, I suppose we could call it a collaboration, couldn't we? So, yeah, I'm always up for these things. And I think it was nice because it was a celebration of the houses and architecture, but also that railway history. There's DJ Puff the Third on YouTube, who sometimes comes on the chats. He's been on here before. And he contacted me, or in the comments, and I looked on his channel where he went up on the bridge. So he's got a video of when he actually examined the railway track and talked a bit about some of his experiences looking on there a couple of summers ago. The talk on Wednesday, let me put the details in here. Or actually, I'm going to do this as we're on. I'm going to look it up and then put it into the chat just so that everyone's got it. Sanderstead History Group, and I'll post the link. Where we go, monthly talks, and here we go, view event. I hope this all works. The reason I say that is because I manage the website, and if it doesn't, then I'm the person to blame. So have a look at that. That should take you to an entry, and also I added a little feature in whereby you can add it to your Google Calendar or any other calendar, and it will go in there hopefully with all the details. But it's Sanderstead, All Saints Church Hall, so top of the hill. You turn into Onslow Gardens where there's a car park, and the hall is just there. You can't miss it. 2 p.m. start. Get there for about 1:45, get a seat, and I'll be there doing all the IT stuff, and Roger will be talking through the slides. And images of Selsdon, never been seen. And the surrounding area, there's some Crowham stuff. Selsdon Station, and again, images that I didn't see when I was doing the research. So get along if you can. I know Martyn sometimes comes along. So, yes. Right. I will... right, the guy who's... Right, let me have a look at this. So, I might have to do that separately. So, on YouTube... It's DJ Puff the Third, literally. DJ Puff the Third. I'm pretty certain that's what it is. And I had to scroll quite a way down. If there's a way of doing a search, it definitely says something like Crowham Road. There's part 1 and part 2 of the video, 2 videos. I think in part 1 there was some camera issues. So part 2 probably gives you the main thing. But yes, he actually climbs up and goes on top of the bridge. I think he's into understanding graffiti tags, and some of them that might be back from the 80s. He's got quite a mix of stuff that he does on his channel. So let's have a look at that. I'm missing a few things. Wallingham posted recently on Facebook. I think that's I've seen some of those on there, Ramsey. I think they're sort of restoration type photos. DJ Puff the Third, good. And Julie got that information. So again, it's a nice little event. There's no kind of membership with the Sanderstead History Group. It's not like there's a body of people that have got all this expertise in Sanderstead history. It's kind of affiliated with the Bourne Society, but it's just turn up, follow the website. I've also there's a kind of mirror Facebook page for Sanderstead that we had to do as a bit of an extra last year. So yes, come along, say hello, and we'll have an enjoyment of unseen photographs of Selsdon and area. Some of them you will have seen before, but quite a few you won't. And this, one of the things that Roger does in his brilliant presentations of his postcard collection is that why were postcards so popular? Well, 3 main reasons. One, not many people had cameras, not that could take images like those. 2, communicate. We didn't have mobile phones then, and not many people had actual phones. And thirdly, they were half the price of sending a letter. So postcards were popular. That's why there's so many of them in collections and the like, and you see them on eBay all the time. If you're looking for something, a landmark or something, just go onto eBay and you'll probably be able to buy a postcard of said thing. So, yes, now, Ramsey, you mentioned about Godstone. So I went to a talk at the Soper Hall in Caterham. It was run by East Surrey Museum, and it was Peter Burgess, I mentioned him in last month's show because we're going to do a bit of a collaboration later in the year, going underground in the caves over that way, the quarry area. And Peter did a talk about, it was kind of 4 different stories all around the quarrying and mining in the area, and caving. Reigate featured quite a lot. But it also mentioned about what happened at Godstone. And he said, one thing he said, whilst you can probably never convince the media, but a sinkhole is literally when water gushes in. Sink, hole, water goes down the hole. This was, we got an apology from Jeff. You don't have to apologise, Jeff. Welcome. So this was a collapse. That's what it is. It was a collapse. The road fell in because there was a space underneath for the road to fall into. They've been doing a lot of work understanding the geology of the area. And obviously one of the important things you need to understand when doing that is, like a building project, how far do we need to go until we've got a solid surface, like a bedrock or something that we can actually build upon? And I think that area is still being defined through boreholes. There's obviously a lot of red tape and regulation that you have to go through. You can't just rock up and start digging in someone's house or garden or whatever. So they're doing that, and it's quite time consuming for a number of different reasons. And obviously one hopes that eventually they'll say, right, all this underground area has been probed and analysed and tested. It's solid to this point. So if we now fill it in with the right material, we should be okay to run massive lorries over the space again. Only time will tell, and it literally will be a case of time telling that. But fascinating talk from Peter. So he's actually going to do that talk again April, I'm guessing. It's on the Bourne Society website. So yeah, Peter's going to be giving that talk again. Let's have a look. So we've got a little comment from Martyn about Roger's talk. I hope it doesn't include a picture of me trying to play cricket for Selsdon Cricket Club in the 1970s. I don't think I saw any pictures of that, but you never know. Godstone on silicon sand and very soft. Yeah, same sand for children's sandpits. Yes, I think this is one of the things they found, that if you went back far enough in maps and where they had an understanding of through extraction and the like, a century or more ago, they could have probably told you, oh yeah, you wouldn't want to build too much on there, because there were big water features and sandpits and all sorts of stuff all around where the builders merchants was. But yeah, so it's going to be a long drawn out process, I think, until they have that. I mean, there is obviously a way round Godstone, thankfully, but I'm sure some of the businesses would have suffered. That's been in the headlines. So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but as I say, come along if you can when Peter does his talk in April. I've got a minor update on Pacitti Ice Cream. So I've mentioned in the past about how one of the things that the channel does is, on doing stuff like this, whilst it's local, it's on a global platform, which is what YouTube is. And I don't quite know how many different ways that people might, or the algorithm might point you at stuff that's on my channel, but I'm glad it does, obviously. And I had this email that received the other day from a gentleman, Derek, and I love the way, I'm going to read this to you, but sort of read it quite quickly, pick out the main points. He said, "Hi Phil, a couple of nights ago I fell asleep watching the TV. I was awakened at about 5:30 a.m. by your voice talking about the Pacitti Ice Cream," which was probably on one of these shows, okay. And he said, "Wow, what a surprise. I lived in South Norwood, SE25 from 1939 to 1959, except for evacuation during the war. And we loved getting ice cream from Pacitti's beautiful little van. The ice cream was soft and sweet, and we literally licked it up. This all came to a halt when my mother became very concerned about polio. I know you said portfolio then. Polio. And she would not let us have Mr. Pacitti's or any other ice cream." And then he talks about he used to ride his bike in Bensham Lane, Thornton Heath. He used to go picnicking on Riddlesdown, in New Kenley, Biggin Hill and the like. Biggin Hill Air Show and all sorts. So amazing. And again, not only is it great for that, where there's some kind of memory, people who've moved away, I think Derek might be living in the States now, but people have moved away to wherever, and it's still a little touch point back to where they used to live, and they can just see what it's like today. And I said before, I know you can do that on Google Street View, but it's not quite the same. I try and do it in a bit more descriptive way, a bit more of a story. And also, again, when Dennis got in touch with me, we were able to provide a photograph of Woodside Court, never been seen before. And as Martyn, you pointed out to me that there's something we need to get together on that. I think you said at the library in Addiscombe, they've got a reference to Woodside Court, but said no known pictures of it exist or something. So, well, now we can say, yes, it does. Look at the video. Still sell Western sand for building now. There you go. What was the name of that? Is it Fairall's Builders Merchants there? Which I think is near where the sinkhole is. Sorry, the collapse. Anyway, so yes, a few different things randomly happened. House-related video filmed, I just mentioned, yes. So obviously I've done some more house-related video filming, and that will continue. Actually, this is another thing. So Graham, my good friend, my partner in crime, or partner in video prep, who occasionally is on camera, but he's been really supportive to me. And we met up for a coffee the other day at the newly refurbished Coombe Lodge, although it didn't look too different. But it used to be, I think, a restaurant side and more of a pub side, and then the conservatory bit. You could basically go anywhere now. But it was nice, a cup of coffee and a refill. But I did a bit of a house history for Graham. He just mentioned in passing, do I know anything about his address? And I found some very interesting information. So, and then there was another post on YouTube. A guy wanted to know about a certain address at Abbey Road in Croydon. And I've just asked him to give me a little bit more info of what he knows. And we'll hopefully get something going on that. I'll either go back to him or I might do a video. But I quite like these little house explorations, just to know what the story was, who lived there, what their stories might have been. Occasionally there's a brush with the law. But yeah, so it's all quite interesting what features in the newspapers. Fairall's brilliant. Okay, thank you. So yes, and as I mentioned, the Victorian property situation, I just find them fascinating. I could gaze at them and for ages, and even when we're watching things on TV, there was what was the thing, The Hack with David Tennant. We just got round to watching that. It was on last autumn. There's some amazing Victorian houses there that he lives in, and I'm kind of following the story, but also admiring the architecture. So. Yeah, and I mentioned in the Dornton Road video, 1 in 6 houses in the UK was built in the Victorian era, so that's why there's a lot of them. I had another recent sign up to my in-person walks on the website, so I've got a collection there. I'll get a communication out soon about that, because I think with the weather hopefully moving towards spring, we can put a date in the diary and to do a first walk, which will be a very much, let's see if this works. And hopefully it will, and then just finding some time for some others. So what we got here, I have a covenant on my house that it can't be used as a dairy. Well. Have you got plans to use it as a dairy? I hope not. Don't want to breach the covenant. So yeah, Ashburton Library, but assume it applies to Croydon Archives. Yeah, could do. Andy, my man. Right, so cheers Phil for the shout out. I'll put this up because it looks good and praiseworthy, Andy, thank you. Cheers Phil for the shout out about 16A Abbey Road. I need to get you some pics. PS, where do you get your amazing facts from apart from the internet? Well, to be honest, it's almost fully from the internet, but there are different sites there. So some of it are the basic mapping sites. So National Library of Scotland, if you just do an NLS search, they've got map images and Ordnance Survey images that are available to be kind of used, that are not copyrighted as such. They've got them available to do an initial bit of research. I get a lot of value from things like the genealogist.co.uk, because they have things like the tithe maps in there if you want to go back to the mid-19th century. They also have the Lloyd George survey, or the Valuation Office survey between 1910 and 1915, which gives you again another set of brilliant maps, but also some documented facts about properties. Other than that, it's census returns, which typically are on Ancestry. They're also on Genealogist. Probably one of the most richest sources that I've got is the British Newspaper Archive. Richard Pacitti and I were asked to squeeze in a talk in March about the Streets of Adventure. The details, brief details, are also on that Sanderstead website that I sent the link to earlier. And the whole of that prep was achieved through looking at the British Newspaper Archive. Now that, I can't remember, that's about £75 a year. Genealogies is about 95. Ancestry is expensive, but they sometimes do deals. Sue and I kind of go half and half on that, because she does a lot of her family history when time allows. So yeah, it's mostly on there. Occasionally, Andy, I do go to the Croydon archives, because what they've got there are the street directories. And they've also got maps as well, like large. It's sometimes good to see an actual physical map. But did I pause then? Anyway, so Croydon archives, sometimes they have specifics that you can look at in their catalogue. So you just go there, arrange a visit, ask them for certain type of records that you're interested in. They'll retrieve them and you can go through them. You have to book a time slot for that. The directories are normally permanently available, so well worth having a look at those if you're there. Come on, you Spurs. Sorry, I'm going off tangent a little bit. But yeah, what I would say, Andy, I'm looking forward to your information. I have done some research in the interim, and there is most definitely a story there. That's all I'm saying. We'll liaise, but I'm quite keen to follow up on that one. I'll let you keep guessing about that one, but this is why I think we're all a community here. We wouldn't have connected if we didn't have the same interests. And there's some great sort of Facebook sites where they've got a lot of information out there on the local area, and they always get good engagement. So Croydon Disconnected and Croydon's Local History, I can't remember the exact names, but you get a lot of postings on there daily, and they always trigger these memories. I think we're all of a certain age group or band or bracket, but there's some amazing stuff out there, and I guess that's all kind of, if there's an interest in it, then let's keep it going. Let's have some positivity about the past, maybe. So I've got a question as well. I randomly this morning, like YouTube just throws up a video. I was watching, I can't remember, it might have been a sports thing about Crystal Palace or something on YouTube, and it said, you want to look at this one next, and it was the making of Guy Ritchie's Snatch movie. Quite a good video, put together from obviously old footage and more recent interviews, but some quite young looking people in there. And I'm pretty certain they filmed some of those scenes, maybe even where Brad Pitt's caravan and community was, over the back of Chelsham, sort of towards Fairchild's Way. But if anyone knows, let me know. Vinnie Jones recently bought a trout farm in Surrey. I'm going to add this on. He wanted a beach like Chris Evans had, so ordered a load of silica sand. Unfortunately, the builder's merchant delivers builder's sand. Love it. Yes, covenant from the farm estate, that would make sense. While mentioning Croydon Archives in Avenue, digital zone in Croydon Clock Tower Library with dedicated terminals linked to their archives and other local history sites. Well, that's good to know. I thought of something else then. We were talking about Croydon Archives. I'll come on to that. I did write one of them down. Exhibition space currently showing a number of short films featuring different periods in Croydon's past. Okay. I need to get there again. I must admit, what I tend to do is if I've got, I think it's still just Wednesday and Friday are the days when the archives are open. And if you book a slot to go and look at some records that you've requested, it's sort of 11 till 1 and then 2 till 4. You can go within those times. But I think if you go at those times without an appointment and ask them very nicely, and there's not too many people there, that's when you can just look at the directories in the door and on the left. But let's have a look. I should ask Steve Parrish to do a tour of the old stand at Palace, Archibald Leach design from 1923 before it was torn down and replaced by the new one. I could do, yeah. I can ask him to buy some more players as well, while I'm there. Steve, buy some players and then I'll do your video. Yeah, maybe. There's probably a press office or something I'd need to ask. It'd be a good one to do. Others may have thought of it, but you never know. Now, right. So that's what I was going to say. An author got in touch with me recently. They are researching a book and wanted some pointers. So I was able to help them. So again, this is another one of these things. If you're out there doing stuff, then there's a nice way that you can communicate. So we had a little email conversation and I gave her some pointers, so hopefully that was of some use. And a lady that ran a talk, I'm just going to try and copy this link and put it in the chat. Hopefully it will work. You can tell me. There we go. It was 2 or 3 years ago I went on a talk in a walk that someone did in the area as part of the open house project, and they got in touch with me recently. They're working on the Ashburton Park restoration project. I think Martyn might have mentioned before. They've got some activities coming up. I think there's a walk coming up on there's 2 dates in February. One is on a Saturday, one is on a weekday, where they're just doing a kind of casual walk to explain what they're doing in the park. And in May, I think there's a couple of weeks at the end of May. The first week of those 2 is dedicated for schools to come out and actually get involved in an archaeological dig, which really interests me. So I'm going to try and get along there. Ramsey, the second week is when Crystal Palace are going to be in the final of the Europa League, Conference League. So I'll probably be in Leipzig, so I'll have to make sure I go in the first part of that week. My tongue is firmly in cheek when I'm saying that, although it'd be great if we do make the final for that particular tournament. But anyway, it's football. It's boring at the moment. So what else have we got? Yeah, we need a manager too. Films featuring Croydon. Oh, okay. I didn't know about these, Martyn. So Croydon Clock Tower. I think that's open. Is that every day of the week? If you could just do us a little update. And what they normally do, I think, on their exhibits, they just play a loop, don't they? Because we had the sort of industrial Croydon, the Forge exhibition recently. So that sounds fascinating. The Sandsted Residence Centenary project that I'm working on, we've been seeing if there's any old footage there, but some of this stuff just gets lost to time, sadly. Even the Streets of Adventure, we knew that this was filmed a couple of times at the time, so we're talking in the 1930s, shown at the Davis Theatre. But where does that film go? I mean, it's on a skip somewhere about 90 years ago, 80 years ago. So, yeah. So, Addiscombe, keep an eye on that one. Hang on, Palace final this season. Do we have any players left? No, we won't go there. But the transfer window's still open for another few days. You never know. There might be some players coming in. Our White's Lemonade. Didn't there used to be a factory in Dornton Road, Croydon? You tell me. I think there was. In the days where there were factories in the UK. Not many now. Right. Any other things that I meant to cover? Well, I'm doing loads of talks. I gave my first talk of the year last week. Lovely group at the Sanderstead Women's Guild. I talked about Benjamin Beeson, Sanderstead veteran, did a video, charged the Light Brigade veteran, and in the story as to the conflict itself and what's going on, there's so many parallels. Nothing ever changes, does it? You know, this is 180 odd years ago, whatever now. Very bad maths, but 170, 180. And you still get the same kind of attitudes from a certain type of person in the world. And then Sue and I were in London on Thursday, and we were just on a sort of walk from one place to the other, and I didn't realise there's this Waterloo Place, but there's this massive number of Crimean War statues, and a statue of Florence Nightingale, which I don't know why I'd never really noticed it before, but that was interesting. So BFI Film Archives, yeah, done a bit of that. And there are some. There's one we got of sunny Surrey or whatever, and it's houses being built in very well dressed bricklayers, being built in the 1930s, I think, off sort of Purley Downs Road, Court Hill area. There definitely was an R. White's factory or depot in Morland Road. Brilliant. Pleased to hear it. The bit of footage that I did the other day is the other end of Morland Road, where there was a fish pond. That's all I'm saying. I've said too much already, but stay tuned for that one. I've still got some biggies to do. We've got the Pacitti story. We've got the water history to do. I almost don't mention that, but they're kind of locked and loaded and ready to go, but I just want nice weather that I can just get out there for. I'll allow too long. I could probably do all the filming easily in a day, but I'll probably allow a couple of days when I can do it back to back. So it will all happen. It will all happen. That's the advantage of doing stuff that's historical. Also, when I'm doing the research, I put feelers out for different things, and sometimes you get stuff back when you just don't expect it. And if that means you can include it because you haven't done the video yet, then, well, hey, that's a win. Secret lemonade drinker. Yes. There we go. I'm a public lemonade drinker. It's on YouTube now. So, Jeff, my wife's dad and his mates used to get over the R. White's wall, nick the bottles, and go and get the money back. That's shocking. I'm not even going to put that on the screen. Yeah, those days, eh? You know, we were paid to recycle, weren't we? Was it Corona bottles? A glass bottle. Take it back to the sweet shop. Jeff, you'll remember Forbes. Other people may remember J. Forbes' sweet shop in Hamsey Green. I don't know why, but I did some research into him recently. We knew him as Jock, but I think it was John. But anyway, it may not go anywhere. It's probably when we were talking about sweetware as well, and some of the other places in Hamsey Green. Some of that may feature on the forthcoming walk. So what else have we got? Yeah, the talk. So even if I've done a talk, I tend to update it and refresh it. So I've got that going on. I've also got a talk that I'm delivering at the end of Feb. So we got the Sanderstead History Group that I mentioned earlier did the link. It's the last Wednesday of every month, except for August and December. And I'm two-fifths of the way through, because there's 5 sections to the talk. The talk is based on this. Very interesting book. So I've picked the stories from the book, but I'm also, Andy asked me earlier about some of the research sources. So the book was produced a while ago. I'm now able to use that as the basis for the talk that I'm going to deliver, but also add some facts and some census returns and newspaper items and the like. So I'm adding a bit more colour to the story, I guess. John Huntley used to show films in Fairfield Halls back in the 90s. Would that be Huntley Archives? Possibly. Mickey Drawboy used to do that too. I love to hear of these rackets. 6pence a bottle. It was, I think, wasn't it? I seem to remember 6pence a bottle. and then that was decimalised as well. Discarded bottles in Hamsey Green and take them back to Sweetware or Forbes. That's it. You're all outing yourselves here. But it was good, wasn't it? So not only would we have taken our glass bottles back for recycling and got paid for it, but when we went to like the green, what was the name of the greengrocers in Hamsey Green? But I remember going up there with Mum, and there'd be the shopping bag, and he would put the fruit or veg in a brown paper bag, twist it round to kind of seal it, and then that would go into Mum's shopping bag. So paper bag into the shop. All that recycling, we didn't badge it as such, did we? But in the sort of 60s and 70s, we were just doing it. It was just what you did. Use those materials. Of course, it would have gone into the bin or maybe gone on the bonfire. Amazing. We sound like old people, but we're not really. Our White Song was written by Elvis Costello, sung by his dad. I can see him now in his pyjamas coming down to the fridge. After the show finishes, go and get yourself a coffee. It's on me. Thank you. And we got lived on Forest Hill. Electric milk vans. Yeah, electric milk floats. They were cool, weren't they? Electric milk vans recycled the glass bottles. Ed Miliband would have been proud. We were ahead of our time. I remember there was, I think it was Jones Brothers Dairy and Express Dairy that had the milk floats. I mean, can you imagine the size of those batteries? So they would just go along nice and quietly. And I always remember there was a Co-op milk van. So that was, and the guys used to drive it like lunatics. I'm surprised the milk ever stayed on the van. And I think they only delivered to one. It was the end of the cul-de-sac where we lived. Whiz along and then turn around and whiz back. And then there'd just be this genteel little milk float that would just glide along. Other than that, amazing. There still are milk deliveries, aren't there? Milk and More, is it now? But we just get them from the Sainsbury's delivery now. Oh, the reminiscing. Trying to think if there's anything else. But yeah, we recycled without badging it as recycling and got paid for bringing the bottles back. Yeah, amazing. Worked for Jones Brothers Dairy. Yeah, I can see, we say this, I can see the milk floats now. I can actually see the milkman, Terry the milkman, when it was one at Hamsey Green, but he didn't do our area. Express floats were blue, Unigate were orange. Unigate were the ones, watch out, there's a Humphrey about there, that thing, wasn't it? I thought they were red and white. Unigate. Anyway. Mum had boys like me carrying her shopping bag. Yeah, I was probably on one of those pull-along trolleys, though, you know. I remember a shopping bag, but also, but we just reused all the time, probably because we weren't in a throwing away kind of mindset in those days, wasn't it? It was, you just kept things and repaired things, and then, only when they were just completely falling apart would you get rid of them. Peter Terry. Get milk delivered in 2-pint glass bottles. The joys of being in the country. Yeah, there were the tall bottles, and then with the slightly dumpier bottles. Silver top, you'd have a bit of cream in the top, wouldn't you? But the birds would occasionally peck them. And gold top, you'd have even more cream. We used to have the pasteurised, was it? Red top mostly. Occasionally we'd have silver top. Yeah, the chink of milk bottles being delivered at 5 a.m. Can you imagine? Everyone's Ring doorbell would be going off nowadays if it was as it was. Amazing. Yeah. So, and again, that was just what it was back in the day. Amazing memories. They'll probably be, now we've been talking about this now, next time you look in Facebook or online, those ads that come in, and I'm sure they listen to you. We'll probably get a Milk and More ad or something coming in now. Let me know later if you do get that. I'd love to hear. Amazing. Coming home to see the bottles with the ice cream bursting out, or with the cream bursting out, or holes it. Yeah. The birds just sussed it out, didn't they? It was just peck a few times, have some of that, and then off on your way. Silver top or gold top was probably best for them. Love it. So what else have we got? yeah, so I think I've kind of covered the main stuff that I was going to talk about. It's just some of the other things that I do have been a bit of a challenge recently. I do juggle a lot of things, and it's sometimes it gets a tad stressful. But you made a conscious effort to buy some time for ourselves, so that's why Sue and I had a date evening and a date day, and we're going to make sure we factor that in, because Sue does a lot of stuff with her acting and other interests, and I do all this as well. So you've got to give time for yourselves, people. Very, very important. So what else have we got? Green and then change to yellow. Jones, okay. Bottle, sterilised milk, the tall bottles. Was that what it was? Okay. Right. So has anyone else got any suggestions? And if anyone else is up for sending in material, or, as I say, with some of this research, Andy asked earlier on, we've got this side project about Abbey Road. I just got cramp in my leg. If there are things that sometimes, and this is, I think, was Andy's thing, that there was a rumour about something, could we add any colour to that? Just ping me a note. I'm not saying I could do it immediately, but there's a lot of things on TV that I might half watch, or Sue tends to watch them properly, and I'm just kind of there in the room and having a cup of tea, and I've got my iPad, and I tend to do some of those little bits of research then. I found a way of just fitting it into different things that I might do during the day. So if you've got maybe an address or something that you might there might be an itch that you want to scratch from a historical perspective, then give me a shout, and I'll see what I can do in spare time to find out. As I say, the Abbey Road one, I didn't really know I know the area, but I didn't know of that place. But as I've dug a little bit into it, I think there's most definitely a story to tell there. So right, what have we got here? Tall bottle, right? Okay, yeah, I guess that was that, Jeff. Dancing milk bottles, might deliver to your house. I covered all the rounds. Pop bottles back, and soda streams. Oh yeah, were they the little cartridges? Soda stream cartridges. Did we used to gather those up once they provided enough fizzy drinks, and then drop those back somewhere? Ramsey's just WhatsApped me some pics of the old milk floats. I will take a look at that a little bit later. Celebrities featuring in the Humphrey ads: Muhammad Ali, Benny Hill, Rod Hull, Sid James, Henry McGee, Spike Milligan, Frank Muir, Arthur Mullard, Barbara Windsor. Wow. Evening, Mark. Mark, I'm going to be signing off soon, but good evening anyway. I'd still love some sort of walk around Morley Park Hospital with old photos comparing with what is there now. Must be an archive somewhere, or use that video of the welcome to the hospital. Well, there is an archive, Andy. I have visited the archive. I have taken photos of the blueprints, which has got the original layout of the building. There would have been, no doubt, other works done over time. Ramsey, I guess, is my connection in, because he lives in that area. So yeah, there might be something we can do there. Ramsey might have to clear up the fact that there might be a bloke wandering around with a camera, because I've got some images, some material that I have found and picked up on the way, like aerial photography and that kind of stuff. So it might be that there's something that I could do with what I've found online, Andy, and just do a bit of a voiceover of what was where, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll bear that in mind. Wallingham Park Hospital. School milk. Oh, school milk. Was it Maggie Thatcher milk snatcher, or was that the term? Anyway, yeah, because we used to have milk and then we didn't. Wow. But yeah, I'm going to make a note with an actual pen and paper. Wallingham Park Hospital video. Because I think I'm right in saying that the layout of Great Park is within the sort of rough boundary of the set of hospital buildings. But there was a lot going on there. Really quite like a community in itself. So cool. Any other things that you might want to ask or request as we close off now? If not, comments. My links are in the top corner. Email phil@philswallow.com. If you go on to those links at the top, there's my WhatsApp, so you can always WhatsApp me if that's a preferred method, or Facebook Messenger or whatever. It's all on there. So Biggin Hill lets me fly in the flight restriction zone. Oh. I mean, I know often they do. You know, you can get permission to fly the drones, can't you? They just have to check the other schedules. Walling Park Hospital, that's where my grandma, my mum's mum, was in there. She had a stroke, unfortunately. She never came out. That's very sad, David. It's a sprawling location. The cemetery is still there, that's just sort of over the footpath. It's still a very pleasing layout there when you go into Great Park. It's a nice area over there in Wallingham. Cool. Right, well, I will say thank you all once again. I think I've spelt it right. I really do appreciate this, guys. Thank you very much for coming on and rolling back the years, I guess. Really do appreciate it. So, as I say in my videos, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.